Whether you're prepping for travel or running travel itself, you can access the Overland Travel Manager from the Launch Hub by pressing this button located here. This tool is broken up into three primary sections. The first is Overlay Management, which is these buttons here, Encounter Management, and then Data Management. What Overlay Management does is it controls how you get a map ready for configuration utilizing this tool by overlaying a hexagonal grid. So for example, if I take this Lost Desert map as my selected map, and we can take a view of that before I do anything right here with a File Explorer window. I'm going to go to my desktop, apps, find the keep, and we'll take a look at that Lost Desert map as indicated here. So this is what it looks like before I run it through this tool. Size, this is the size of the hexagons that you want to overlay onto this map. So for my purposes, I'm going to say I want hexes of a size 45. And once you overlay hex grid, you will see the map that you have selected here will get an appropriate overlaid grid, and with each hex being numbered. This supports any images that you want to utilize for your overlay purposes. All that you need to do is put them into this maps folder located wherever you have the keep. So once you have this grid, you can see that it's stored in this hex map subfolder. Here's the Lost Desert hex map that we just created. And once you have this map all set up, what you can do is look at it for reference for the next step. So I'm going to open that up by going to the keep, going to maps, and hex maps, and Lost Desert. So now that we have this map loaded, what you want to do is go to Data Management and hit Format Tiles. This is where you're going to be specifying where what hexes are representative of what. So for example, say that I see this group of three hexes on a rocky surface. So that's 476, 477, and 478. Let's say that I want that to be representative of a mountain due to the rocky surface. And if I want to configure these three hexes to be mountainous and containing enemies, what I would do is I would select 476 as my start range, 476, through 478. 478. What this tile start field represents is the first hex they want to configure, and then tile end is the through to the last hex. So I've currently what I have it set up, it will make these hexes represent mountains. Inside these mountains, I want there to be fodder enemies, and I want there to be 3 of them. And when the party goes through here, I want there to be an 80% chance of running into enemies within these hexes. So the general process is you set up the hexes that you want to configure. You set the parameters for what you want the hex to represent. So in my case, a mountain with 3 fodder enemies and an 80% chance to run into them. And once you're all set, you just simply hit submit, and you'll get a notification letting you know that it was successfully formatted. So once you do your formatting to your desire, you can close out of this tool, and that will all be saved for you automatically via map data. The map data location is where you have the keep stored under this map data subfolder, and each of these is tied to the name of the map that you overlaid. So for example, this is my Lost Desert map. So if I want to load in its data, we can start checking for hexes. So for example, I didn't configure hex 2, so if I put that in and then check for encounter, we're going to get no encounters for this hex, as it hasn't been configured to have an encounter as of yet. But if we go to one of those hexes that we did configure, so 477 I believe was within that range, and hit check for encounter, we can see that we get a mountain encounter with 3 fodder enemies as we put in, and the ability to automatically generate a battle map from there if we so choose. And here we see we get a mountain map with the mountain texture and some rocks thrown in to allow us to quickly get a combat going for our party. And we can also see that each of the creatures has a drop, as this is generated using our encounter generator tool. So let's travel through that hex a few more times. So it has an 80% chance of succeeding, and as you can see, we got that again. If we click a few more times, 80% chance is quite likely to succeed, but eventually what we should see is that there can be a chance for no encounters for this hex. So with an 80% chance, it's likely to happen, but the party could get lucky when they wander through here. So to recap, the general gist of how to utilize this tool is you want to overlay a map with a hexagonal grid using the overlay hex grid tool set here with the overlay management. After you have the map that you want to set up, you simply format the tiles as desired using our tile formatting tool. And then lastly, when you are running the party through here, you have them tell you what hex they want to go to. So if they want to go to 5, you would input 5 here, check for encounter. You will get a notification letting you know no encounter for this hex. And when they eventually move to a place that you have set up with a high probability, they're likely to be in for a combat, which will let you quickly generate a map to get them sorted and into combat as soon as possible. That should be everything you need to know to successfully utilize this tool.